Start recording. Good morning. Here we are, early to the party, back to the shack, back to the shack. Come on in. Everybody happy? Everybody there? Anybody there? Come on in. It's great to have your company. There's something going on with my screen again, but oh, whatever. Yeah, whatever does that mean? Ignore it. Come on in. It's good to have your company. Paul, I know you're in the building before everybody else arrives. Just let me know that the sound is right because my computer's gone berserk here. Thank you. How is everybody? Come on in. It's good to have your company again. Am I on my own? No, there they are. Did you miss me? Did you? I missed you. It was quite lonely last week. You get used to people, don't you? You get used to routines. Hey? Did you enjoy the sunshine where you were? Where are you? Where are you? It was really nice over the weekend here. Really lovely. Yeah, it was all right. And I did plenty of pottery. Trying to get tall with these vases is no mean task, I can tell you. Yeah, I couldn't get higher than 6 inches, you know. And 6 inches doesn't seem like a lot until you're throwing a vase going upwards, you know. No, and it didn't matter how hard I tried. Maybe I'll try less hard, but it'll come, you know. Progress, not perfection. That's what she seeks. And yeah, so I was pulling, but I guess pulling's not the right word. You're kind of encouraging it, really. You pull it and you pull it apart. Did you see the old the throwdown last night? Did anybody watch the throwdown last night? I was surprised to see Sal go, but she didn't listen to the instructions, did she? She didn't follow the pitch. I knew it when she put that rim on. I thought that's just cost you your place in the semi-final, girl. But you know, yeah. And the lad with the twisted pot, I loved the idea, but again, didn't follow instructions. And I thought that's going to cost them to the slot. And it's a shame because they were really good potters. But there you go. Didn't listen. Come on in. Come on in. Great to have your company. And Paul says the sound is good. Paul is in the building with you today, and he'll be able to help you or answer any questions or help you find anything. I've had a quiet week. Yeah, real quiet. Time to reflect. You know, sometimes you just have to step away from the carousel, the circus. Yeah. And so that's what she did. And I've come up with some conclusions, you know. In case you're not aware, I had a little bit of a bad turn in front of 400 people, which was less than good. About 10 days ago, was it? Last Friday, wasn't it? A week Friday. And I was fine. Honestly, I was fine. By the end of the show, I was fine. Ironically, I'd said in the morning that we were going to put the old SHAC bus in the depot to have an overhaul and check the treads on the tyres, because we have done a fair bit of mileage. And we got to 180 hours in the SHAC, and we said, right, let's park it for a week. Great to have your company today. So let's get started. I think it's 10 o'clock. Yes, it is. Welcome to the SHAC. Safe, happy and creative. Stay home and craft. Have you got your vaccine yet? Have you? I've got my first jab on Wednesday evening over in Sevenoaks. You get it where you can. So I was a little bit disheartened today to hear that there's a Brazilian strain. What can I say? We have to stay sensible, don't we? Stay sensible, stay safe. Doesn't look like this old SHAC's going anywhere anytime soon though, eh? So today, what we're going to do, right, last time we did a couple of hours on the Poppets, didn't we? Do you remember? Let's have a look. What do I mean by Poppets? What do I mean by Poppets? Let's have a look. these are the flower and the Christmas, and then there's the whimsy, right? So I've got my set here, look, my lovely well-worn set. These are sets of postcards. And what I was going to show you is this, because the way they work, they're just beautiful. We print them ourselves, and they're printed on our stencil card, actually, which is exactly what we need today, which is great because it can take the watercolour beautifully. So that's what we're going to do today. And so last time we just did some simple colouring in. The thing is, in each set you've got 12 postcards. You've got the large one, and then you've got the large print, and then you've got the smaller print, right, on the same size A5, but it's for doodling. So for example, if you recall a couple of weeks ago, you see there's one that we coloured this girl in, didn't we? This is what we did before we stopped for a week. So for example, you can see here that we just coloured her in, didn't we, with dry pencils, pergoliners, polychromos, and then what we did was we took the smaller one, which is her, same design, but I showed you how to doodle a landscape around, and that is the whole purpose of this game, is that we're learning how to create backgrounds. So that's why we've got two prints, one with loads of space to do some doodling. Yeah. And so today I had another idea. I was thinking about it, and I thought it would be really nice if because we did dry colouring, didn't we? It was really pretty. These are so easy to colour in. And so I thought it would be nice today to do another poppet, but a whimsy poppet. So we're going to go to this little girl here. I thought we'd pick her. You can pick anyone you like. And then what I want to do is use watercolour pencils to colour her in. Looks really delicate, really, see, not so bright. Because I thought, wow, she's got wings. She's a little bit of a fae. And I thought it'd be lovely to do her wings like kind of translucent a little bit. And then, of course, I was thinking about the background. So what you're going to need while you're looking for her, she's the little poppet with the wand, with the star wand, all right? So you find her, and I'm going to tell you what I've got in my mind's eye, all right? Because in the pergoliner set of pencils that so many of you've got, these ones, right, there are, of course, 20 watercolour pencils and 16 blending pencils like the polychromos. So a lot of us have got these 20 watercolour pencils. So I thought, let's take a look at those, because I was thinking, once you get to understand how they work, there's so much you can do with them, apart from what we're going to do today, which is very carefully colour in, right? And you'll be amazed how quickly it works. It's like, poof, right? But I also thought it would be nice to have a look at a background. This is moving forward now into the rest of the week and next week. I've got some ideas for doodling, but I want to sort of drop them onto watercolour backgrounds. Now, do you remember when we were using the watercolour pads? And we, hang on, let me start here. So what I want to do, you see, this is stencil card, which is exactly the same as this. It's exactly the same card, okay? We deliberately printed this onto stencil card so that you can throw paint at it and texture paste and all sorts, right? But you'll see here, look, check it out. The colours that I've used in here, isn't this pretty? The colours I've used in here are the same colours that I've used here. So I thought, while we're doing this, we could take the colour and add it over here as well, right? So what you need, before we get started, there is a few things, and we could spend a couple of minutes just gathering our bits and pieces, because it's a new journey today. We'll be on this bus trip for a couple of weeks though, so if you haven't got the stuff, you can always order it quickly, and Paul will make sure that it gets sent out today, won't you, darling? Yeah, of course he will. That's always the way we try and roll. I mean, it will leave our building today, whether, you know, then it's in the lap of the gods, but things are getting through quite quickly at the moment. What I wanted to show you, what I'm going to use, first of all, there's certain things. Let's have a look. I put them all together in a pot, so you can go, got it, got it, got it, got it, ain't got it, got it, got it, ain't. Right, exactly. So this is what we're going to use. Let me put my other glasses on, and let's have a little look. So the first thing I want to be going to, I'm going to go to these watercolour brushes. Now I'm saying for the next couple of weeks, this is what we're going to be using, all right? So we've got these watercolour brushes. That's for sure. You need them. Hang on, where's my mix, mate? Hang on. Oh, I'm so glad I'm organised. Right, mix mat. Okay, so then we've got these mix mats, haven't we? Water and oil, a pair of them. So you get a pair of them. I'm going to use my water one. I did have another one, a clean one. Right, there we are. So we're going to use those. Let's have a look. Cool. Then the next thing that we will use down the road a little bit, is on top of these things, on top of this watercolour. Okay, so first of all, how do I get the shapes? Well, it's up to you. You've got choices here. You can draw around a cup or something and just keep drawing around a cup. That's easy, right? You can go freehand, woo-ah, yeah. I've got, if you're not very good at that kind of thing, I dug out some stencils and I asked Paul to put a super cool price on these. So these are pretty cool. Look, have a look. So we've got stencils. These are so cool for backgrounds. And what we can use is use them as templates, you see. You just draw around them. Look, see, draw around on the inside. This one's particularly good for this because it's got all different size circles. So you could take this and just go all around it and have that as your frame. I did that somewhere. Let me just show you while I was looking at this. See, you could take one and do lines with it. We're going to do that. See, you can go all the way along. I did find one that's that size. There it is. See, I just went straight along a line. I don't know if you can see that. And then on this side, this one, I'd literally just took the stencil. Yeah, like that. See? And I just drew around on the inside of the stencil, and that gives me my template for the background. So you can see where I'm headed with this, right? The reason that I wanted to show you this, well, so, and then also let's just go through these stencils because they're pretty cool. So then you've got the stripes, which are dynamite, one of my favourite stencils. Then you've got the hearts, which again, if you don't want to do circles, the hearts are cool. You've got the zigzags, again, for what we're going to do with watercolour, superb. And then these two are more like backgrounds. So these are pretty cool as well as backgrounds if you've got those brushes that we use. But you could also do the shaping. Look, it's very clever. Just use it as a template. So those, there's 6 of them in the set. 6 of them in the set. And I'm going to use the round one on this particular journey. I'm going to use the round one. But like I say, hasn't got to have it. You can draw around things, can't you? You can draw around pots, you can draw around cups, you can draw around... Just have to get a selection of things to draw around. This is instant art, okay? Right, now, let me show you where I'm kind of going with this on the watercolour pad. I thought it would be a good idea to start on the Clarity stencil card because that's what we're colouring in with the Poppets. And then if we just take a look at this, you see you can really get arty on watercolour. So that's a work in progress, I haven't finished that yet. But here you can see I've just gone round, and that's when this all comes in. So most of you've got this stuff, which is why I thought it'd be a good idea. You've got your Posca pens, white and black. you've got your micron pens, see? So and then you've got your paintbrushes. So that's about it really. And this is going to take us through a really an interesting arty journey. An arty journey, not a journal, a journey. Because when we do the little girl, the poppet, what you'll see is that she's really easy. It's like very, very comfortable to do the watercolour. And then as soon as you start this game, it's a learning curve. As much as you think this is simple, it looks simple. It's like tall vases. But trying to get this kind of watercolour sploshy, you know what I mean? And then what we'll do is when it's completely dry, then we'll put our designs inside. And that, my friends, is what I want to do in the background of her, but smaller, which is, yeah, the smaller the more difficult. So anyway, that's where I'm headed. So I hope I've given you enough time to gather all your bits and pieces, and then we can get started. Yeah? Yeah, 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 yeah. Right, mix mat. So let's have a look. And also, one of the things that where's my water? Excuse me, 1 minute. I've started drinking more water because I think when I had my little moment, my little wobbly, I was dehydrated as well. So I'm drinking more water, less tea. Just reminds me, doesn't it, to drink more. Right, so that's what we're going to do, okay? Any questions? Ask Paul. And then he can ask me. It'll be fine. So let's start one thing at a time. We'll put our circles. You got a piece of clarity card? I've got a blank one. You need a blank one of them, because as we do the colours, we'll just grab that, okay? Let's do that thing. Right, and then we're going to take the large little poppet, pick any pair you like, do any postcard you like, okay? And then, oh, that's all those ones before I lose them. Cool. Did you see that Ho Chanda TV show on Friday with Cherry Green's beautiful butterflies? Oh, they were spectacular. No wonder they sold out so fast. Such beautiful stamps. Spent a lot of time on those ones. We spent a lot of time on those, but it was worth it. It was worth it. So let's have a look at the colours we're going to use. Now, where's the one I've already done? Right, because when you look at the watercolour pencils, I don't know what that one is. What's that one? 7, 8, number 9's missing. All right, be somewhere. Right, but what I'm going to use is the A5, the blue one, and then I think I'll use the yellow one up that end, the A20, and then there's a brownier looking one, like a ochre, number 19. Those are the ones I want to use. That's it. Just those three. And we'll get all these different variations. Have a look up close. And while you're looking, see if you can see in her dress the little hearts. Can you see them? That was luck. That was more luck than judgment. But I'll see if I bet never to be repeated, but I'll give it a go. Right, so that's the first thing we want, is the 3 colours that we're going to use. Okay, now you need your mix mat and you need your water brushes or a paintbrush of some description and some water. The reason I like the water brushes is because they're there all the time. And then the other thing you need is a tissue or a bit of toilet roll or something, kitchen towel, just to get rid of the excess when you work, okay? Right, so the first thing I think we'll go to, let's do the blue dress. Let's do the blue dress, because the thing about this is as well, you tend to work in layers, all right? So let's go with the blue. We've done this before. What we're going to do, take the mix mat, it's got a bit of tread on it, like a bit of purchase, see? And we're just going to scribble. When if you think that you can just colour it in and then add water, it's not as good. It just doesn't look as good, trust me. And the other thing is, if you take a paintbrush and then you use the paintbrush, like, where's that paintbrush? Let's see. Let's take a paintbrush now. Right, take a paintbrush like that. You know I'm spitting on it, don't you? And then you do this, right? Water, da-da-da. And then you go in and you get a really, really bright, vibrant colour. Trouble is though, over a period of time, what will happen is the water seeps down the shaft and it makes the pigment here, it makes it crumbly. And that does not help when you go to sharpen it, because it just gets soft. So you might have a measure of success on the day, but then a few weeks later, you might really regret that you did that. Now these brushes, let's have a look. These are great. Have you got these? These are great. The weirdest thing is that the thread is like Australian. It goes the other way to the way you think it goes. So you tighten it as if you were going to open it. Now what we're going to do, right? We'll just take our blue, and then we'll put a bit. Look, I'm squeezing, and when have I got any in there? Come on. Have I tightened it so much that it won't come out now? Come on. Which one have I picked here? Well, it's a good advert, isn't it? Try another one. Right. There you go. Out it comes. I was trying to pick a clean one, but obviously I picked a... I'll give that a go in a minute. Right, so we've got some water, and then we're just going to add the water to the blue there. See? So if you want it really watery, just add more water. Yeah? There you go, like that. And then what you can do is go straight in, but we want it to be really watery. So this is the watery one, right? So what I'm going to do is take that watery one, and I'm literally going to just stain. It's almost like a stain. And because they've been drawn in such a sketchy way, you can see, and I'm just blotting a little bit so it's not too wet. And I'm using, look, just a real light sketch. That's it. Can you see that okay? It's come in a bit tighter. Excuse me a minute while I come in a bit tighter. There we are. That might help a bit, eh? Does that help? Do you know that? I mean, that was empty. I could squeeze until the cows come home. Okay, right. Now, once we've done that, then this one's a little bit darker, you see? So this is the interesting thing. With these brushes, you can get in the tightest areas. So let's have a look at the stockings now. And we're just going to drop the colour a little bit darker now. What I love about this though, this colouring, see, first of all, it's very, very relaxing. There we are. It does half calm me down, you know. There we go. Just pop the stripes into the... So this is really cool how detailed you can get. See, one of the other things is I'm using one of the larger brushes here, and yet it's still, I can still stay right inside the lines. Okay, I'm just doing every other stripe on her stocking. When you actually look at the brushes themselves, they've got smaller nibs as well. Look, I'll show you something. Look how small that is. See, it's a lot smaller than that one. Let me show you by comparison. There. Can you see the difference? If I take, yeah, I think you can, can't you? Let's take a bit of black card. Here we go. Have a look. See? So there's quite a difference between the nibs. So if you're getting into a real tight area, then you can just use the tighter brush. If you want to do more of a wash, then use the fat one. These are the two short ones. It's nothing to do with the length of the what's it called, the mine or the shaft part. It's about the length and the number of fibers in the brushes, isn't it? So now I've done that. Now let's say, see, it's very, very easy. And now I'm just gonna, if I want to add a bit more shade, right, take a bit of that colour now, dip it on there. Now it's a little bit darker now. So what we're going to do is just run it down there like that. And then you can take the water and just, there you go. So you can just go along now with the darker colour. Just go along underneath where there's a pleat, right? If I take the water from here, let's take the water out of there. See, I can come in from that side and I can just add a bit more shade. There we are, look. But like I say, the smashing thing about this artwork by Marina Fedotova is that it's drawn in such a lovely sketchy way that you haven't really got to overthink the colouring. It can be sketchy as well, see? Nice. And then if you want it to be darker still, you just do it in 3 layers, like wash, then a little bit darker, and then a little bit darker. Now, let's do the wings. And I'm going to go real light on the wings, real light, okay? Not that light grey, there's no colour. You're just wetting it. Now, what you can do, this is particularly useful to know if you're using watercolour paper, is you put down what's called a glaze. But you can do it on this kind of paper too, on this kind of card. What that means is, when I'm saying a glaze, right, if you just put down clear water, just a wash, like I'm putting down a little, this is almost like a glaze because it's almost got no colour, but I'm trying to get that kind of translucence effect of the wings, you see. But it's amazing how quickly and how smoothly you can work. So what happens is when you put down the glaze, like I am here, right, just run through like this, then when you go in with another colour, what will happen is it stays on the wet area. I don't want to make that particularly dark, so I'm going to leave that. But it stays on the wet area. So I'll show you in a minute with her hair what I mean. Right. But look how quickly you can get that layer down. Now this isn't watercolour paper, so you probably, you know, you don't want to sort of saturate it, you know. But it's great how easy it is to add colour. If you've got access to a sink and you just wash it, I mean, to be honest, you could wash this, clean this. If you've only got one of these brushes and you've got to use it for several colours, then you just squeeze the colour out like that, and then it's good to go. I could use that now in yellow. So don't feel that you need to change all the time. But I use them all the time. So for me, I just have one for yellow, one for this, one for that. See, I've got a yellow one. Let's do a little bit of yellow. Leave that colour there. Don't get rid of it. We're going to use that in a minute. Let's put the yellow now underneath the blue. See, this is a way to protect your watercolour pencils. You use them more or less as a pigment dispenser. Right, here we go. Water in the middle. Got my water there. And then I've got my yellow there, so I can just, it's fascinating how quickly, how soluble they are, isn't it? There we are. So just check that it's not too much on your tissue, like that. Now, where am I going to go yellow here? See, now with the yellow, let's play it safe, and let's do the star. And we'll make sure that we don't go anywhere near the blue, because immediately when we do that, we're going to get green, which we will do in a minute, but just not quite yet. Right, do we want little yellow? Yeah, we do. We want yellow, hang on, yellow bells on the dress. There we are. Little yellow bells. It's relaxing, this is. I find it relaxing and not challenging. I'll tell you what, it is challenging though if you use these directly onto here, because it doesn't move, it doesn't glide like this. You're not staining. Yeah. So now we've got those colours. Let's have a look. We want to do the stockings, but I don't want to do them yellow. I want to do them green. Yeah. So at this point, I'm going to take my blue one. I'll leave my yellow yellow. I always think that's not a bad idea, to leave your yellow yellow. Yellow's pristine. It stays yellow. Let's try that. Where's that blue one gone? Where have I put it? Try any one of these. There it is. Is that blue? Right. There we go. So let's use this blue one. Oh, it's got a bit of green on it. Right, so what I'm going to do now is put a bit of water there and pull in a bit of the blue, and then pull in a bit of the green, the yellow, sorry. And you'll see I can always make another puddle of yellow. It's just pure, isn't it? It's not a blend. Right, that'll do. And you'll see, try it on a bit of copy paper, whether you like it or not. Do you want it a bit bluer? Bring down a bit more blue. There you go. So you've got so many blends of greens just by using this as your this mix mat as your blending thing. When I did my traditional, let me show you. I mean, it's been years. Let me show you my traditional watercolour when I was learning how to do watercolour. Look, we just used it was like a tray, like a tile. And you know, even after all these years, I know if I add water to this, I'll rejuvenate it. You used to put little blocks of colour just to squirt a bit on here, and then you could mix it. The only bit you would clean sometimes would be the bit in the middle, and then you'd pull it in and mix it, you see, and then you wrote quinacridone red or whatever you were using along here, indigo, Windsor blue, blah blah blah, cadmium yellow. See, and then you'd pull your in and you'd make your blend off the back of half a dozen colours around the outside. And in the end, this is all we're doing here really. This is just a pencil version of that, isn't it? It's just a pencil version of that. And you need, see, the tile would be no good for the pencils because it's got no purchase. It's fine for liquid, but not for hard pigment like this. So there you go. I've just got, does that make sense? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now let's take a little bit of that green, because that's the colour. I think I want to make it a little bit more turquoisey than that. And see, that's the brilliant thing. You can get a really fabulous, there you go. Yeah, 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 that's more like it. Right, so this is the colour I'm after. So in effect, what we're doing here is exactly the same as what I used to do on my ceramic tile, my tray, you see. There you go, a bit wet. You can hose it up as well with these if you think it's too wet. Thing is, what we're doing here is we're staining the card, aren't we? Watercolour paper, by comparison, is far more porous, much wetter. Look, watch this. If I do this, right, I'm dropping the green in there. Now I could let that dry, and it will dry quite dark. Or I could blot it. And if I blot it, if I think I've overcooked it, see, it comes up lighter. So it's up to you. You've got so many variations, so many colours. It's crazy, really. I love it. You just got to remember to work in layers. If you keep going over it and it's still wet, it roughs up the paper. So it's a good idea to just let the layers dry. Right. How are you doing? You all right? Hmm? There, that look pretty. Bit of green. I think I'm going to pull a bit of green through there. See, when Marina drew these, she did us a really big favour because she kept giving us all these little sketchy lines that we can then just follow with our watercolour. Look, super, isn't it? Easy. I'm going to put a bit of a flash of green through that, make it look translucent. Here we are. Bit of green in there. So you've got to let it dry. How about a bit of green in that area there? Nice. It's so smooth, isn't it? I do like watercolour, don't you? Simple. Nice. Now let's do her hair. So the hair, don't get rid of this. We're going to need this in a minute when we do that bit. Right. We can give that a go as well today. Now let's do her hair. And this was the other colour, wasn't it? The browner colour. Well, it's not really, it's like a honey yellow really. Number 19. So let's go in here. So we've got 1, 2, 3 colours going down here. It's funny because it is exactly what I used to do on the tile. I hadn't thought about it like that really. Right, here we go, clean one now. So there's some water again. You enjoying this? Simple. I thought it'd be best to keep it simple today. Keep it easy, you know, because we've had a week off. I thought it'd be nice to just ease the old bus in slowly again, eh? Bus drivers had a break. Now let's have a look at the hair, and I'll show you what I mean when I talk about when we talk about doing a glaze. When I talk about a glaze, if I just take a bit of the water, right? There's water all the way. It's always damp, right? But if I just add a bit of water to her hair, not I'm bringing it in from the side. I'm not going to squirt it onto her head and then distribute it because I'll get a puddle. Yeah, but you can see when you hold it to the light, you'll see exactly where the water is, right? You can see where you've added a bit of water. It's shiny, see? There, like that. So you know that you've got a glaze. It looks like a glaze, doesn't it? Now let's take the water, the colour. Let's take that yellow. And what we'll do is, you watch, when you add it, look, you can literally, you can dot it into her hair. It sits and the water just moves it around. So this is really good if you want to add various colours in different places. See, I'm not going to put green in her hair, but let me just, by way of example, if, for example, I wanted to put a bit of orange in, let's see if I can show you what I'm talking about. Just grab a bit of orange. I'm not going to put green in her hair, that would be ridiculous. That's not even that's a B pencil. See, the minute you do a B pencil, it doesn't work, look. Well, that's handy, Barbara. All right, let's take a bit of red then. This is a bit, I'm breaking the mould here, but I just want to show you, this is an A pencil, so straight away it works. Now, if I add a bit of red, hang on, I've got some red over here. There we are. Add a bit of red. This is when you add a glaze, how it can work. So when you go in here, if I want to add a little bit of red to her hair, you see how it just spreads? Look, it's brilliant. It just goes exactly where you put the glaze. See? So that's good to know. And if you don't like it, or you think, I just wanted to show you how you can move it around. But it's great. Look, I'm going to get rid of all of it because the water gives you a really good, it's almost like a liner's blanket. See, it's taken out all the colour and it's just stained it slightly, almost taking it all out again. Do you see? But what I'll do now is I'll dry it, and I can dry it if I can dry it with a hairdryer or a craft. See, I can dry it again. I don't want to wait too long. I can speed dry it. You don't have to wait till the cows come home. I haven't read the book that says I can't use a hairdryer or a craft knife to dry, right? Do you remember that boyfriend I told you about years ago? And he used, fantastic artist, German fella called Walter. And he used to, you know, I used to watch him when he was doing his art. And yeah, look, old habits die hard. He'd have toilet roll. This is like one of the most talented artists I've ever met. He'd have toilet roll in one hand, he'd have a hairdryer in the other hand, and a bottle of wine there, and he would just go ferociously at his work, right? And then when he was finished, and he would dab it with a toilet roll, then he would hose it down with more paint, then he would dry it, then he'd dab it with the toilet roll, in out. And then when he was finished and he stepped away, it made you cry. It was so beautiful, you know? And so I learnt from him, and he never went to art college. I learnt from him that there are no rules in art. You know, whatever it is you want to get to, experiment, try it, see what happens, you know. And whilst we're playing it safe here, we're just getting to grips with our material, you know. But it's fascinating how you can just, now I don't want to, let me see, I just wanted to make a point there with the red. And I think the other thing that I wanted to say, I was thinking about you this morning at about 6 o'clock when I opened my eyes. And the other thing that I wanted to say to you was, when I was sort of preparing for today, because I was preparing all weekend, it's funny how it sort of sat in my head, something this simple, right? But what I wanted to say was that when you do something, when you do art or anything like this, do a little bit and then stop and look at what you're doing and say, well, do I actually like what I'm doing? Or, you know, am I keen on this? Because if I'm not, then stop. Don't keep going with it. If you're not happy with it, then stop. You know, oh, I like this colour. So you don't have to keep going. You haven't it's not irretrievable. You can just stop and, like when I was watching the Potters yesterday, I think the minute she was putting that collar on, Sal, she was putting that rim on her pot, and she knew she shouldn't be doing it. She knew it. You could tell from her body language, and she got defiant. And I thought, no, it would have taken minutes, seconds to pull it off again, you know, and correct that. But she felt like, well, I've started, so I'm going to finish. And it's like, not sure. So you just stain your work, see? And then you let it dry, or you help it dry, whatever you prefer. Right. So a little bit of red in her hair. Nice. Okay. But you can see how you can build up the colour. So what we're going to do now is we're going to let her dry. Let her dry. So you get hairdryer out and speed dryer. While she's drying, so that's what I thought, because there's going to be drying phases. I thought, well, why don't we get another piece of paper, another piece of stencil card, and try this stuff? Yeah, because I've got something really cool in my head that I want to try, and these will be this will be your background when we get to it next week, or Wednesday or Friday. Okay, so get yourself a piece of stencil card. Have you got some? It's good gear. Everybody should have, you know, I mean, really, I tend to use the same stuff all the time. I don't have we bring out lots of new designs, but, you know, like different illustrations. But in the main, our core products, there aren't that many. It's the brushes, it's the masks, it's the ink pads. There's only, you know, a handful. Once you've got that stash, you know, we don't usually have that many things, you know. Pencils, pens. I suppose so. Right, you ready? So what we're going to do now is take we've got different choices. If you want to, you could draw around something, take the stencil, and get your pencil. Ah, look, my baby, my HB. Look. Thank you to the good person that gave me this. It's brilliant. There we are. Waste not, want not. Right, so what you can do, you see, is you can, it's up to you. I'm going to just make a couple of marks. So you can take you can move them round. They don't all have to be, but this is really useful to have actually. See? So you can make it whatever you want it to be, can't you? Little one. I think I might put a bit one over there. So you can use it as it is, as it comes, or you can do that and we can add to it, can't we? Let's just get started. This is where the glaze thing comes in. You know what I was talking about? So if we look at these colours here, let's go to the one, where was the one that clean brush? I mean, if you're using just a bog standard brush, that's great. You just clean it, use it, go to that colour, clean it, use it, clean it, use it. Whereas when you're using water brushes, you have a brush for each colour. That's how I work. But if you didn't, then you just clean it, use it, clean it, use it, clean it, use it. Okay? Nothing too scientific, really. Not when it comes to me. Right, so what we're going to do now is if I take that colour there, any colour, just I need a little bit of glaze, right? And then I'm just going to put, just like we did in her hair, let's start with this one. And I'm just going to use the side of the, see? Just use the side of the, to make a glaze. And you don't have to worry about whether you get the whole thing covered. If there's a little bit of missing or you go over the line, bingo, right? Let's just get a glaze going. There you go. And once you've got that, then you can take your colour, whatever colour you fancy, whatever colour you fancy, Barbara. Where did your blue go? In a minute, I'm just going to use a bog standard brush. It's only because, right, let's use this one. This is black. See, because I was doing some black the other day. Right, I need a bit more fresh blue. Where's my pencil? Here it is. Keep it simple. Right, I'm going to get some fresh blue going. Right. That's it. My blue's gone a bit green over there. So I'm going to put a bit of blue down. Right, nice and watery. Squeeze a bit more water into that. That'll do. Right, and then let's just add, right, over the wash. Here we go. Just squeeze a bit of that colour in. Not too much. Right. You want it a bit more concentrated. Right, then we can add a bit more blue, watch. Take a bit more blue because I think I used a bit too much water there. Right, thicken it up a bit, you know when it's thicker. And this is the thing, because we've got, see, because I've got that glaze down, I can add a bit of a, like a stain. You know that look that we all aspire to. See, bit of white, bit of that. Now when that dries, I can add another layer, but that'll do for now. If I want that to be more, more waterier, right? Then I'll just go back in with more water. Here we go. Just grab a bit of water and I can take that back, you see? Because that's the good thing about it. You can pull it back a bit and you can always blot it. Remember my mate Walter? If you blot it, watch. If you don't like it, you can pretty much disappear it. See, it's all on there. So, and then let it dry. Let it dry. Then let's go to another colour, right? So all this on here is my mixing palette. If it gets too muddy after a while, because you're going from this colour to that colour, see, I quite like that yellowy colour, the sandy colour. So let's get in there. Let's do that one. See, I've got that blimmin' B pencil there. It's funny how they don't work, isn't it? Right, now let's try one without the glaze. Let's use the yellow as the glaze. Here we go. Just spread that colour around and then add a bit more depth around there. See, it's interesting how, because you're not really, it's easier to have a circle to go to than not have a circle. When I did these, I just went freehand, right, without a line. And afterwards I thought I could have made that a lot easier on myself, you know, by giving myself an outline. It was a piece of cake. So bear that in mind. See, and I'm not worried if I go over the edge, because in a minute I'm going to take a black pencil, I'm going to scribble. So who cares? Don't worry about that. What's interesting, I find, with this sort of work is I find it a lot easier to colour in something like that, really detailed control. Are you the same? But when it's just free like this, for some reason, and I don't know why that is, but this is, I'm out of my comfort zone with this kind of thing, you know? Like when you watch Sam Crow or Lou Withers or these girls, right? They're in their comfort zone with this sort of thing. But for a lot of us, and I know that many of you are like me, it's that free feeling. You have to learn it, don't you? It doesn't come naturally to us. It's much easier. That's why we like knitting and you know, quilting, and it's very measured, isn't it? So this sort of mixed media free stuff, it doesn't come quite so naturally. That's just my opinion. And you know what they say, opinions are like noses, everybody's got one, and I've got loads. So let's have a look again. Let's just keep going. Because when this is dry, see, I like that with a bit of a stain like that. I know, and isn't that what we want when we do a watercolour? Isn't that what we're after? Let's try a green. See, I'm going to muddy this up a little bit now. Let's go with that colour there. I want that kind of greeny, zesty colour. So I'll add a bit more water. I think so. It's got to be quite zesty. I'm going to use the whole lot here. Right, a bit more water. Because it's going to be the underglaze, isn't it? The wash underneath. So, and I'm using quite a big brush. And then I'm just going to sweep. See, and you can go round the edge, zoom round. Just get a bit more colour. And then we can see, once we've got that, see, it's not bad. Once you've got a glaze down, just that's the thing. Once you, I call it a glaze for the sake of argument, but it helps the colour move around, you see. That's what I'm saying. And then when you get little arty bits like this, it's cool. See, now if I wanted to, let's get a bit more blue. And I'll keep picking the dry area here. In a minute, I'm going to have to clean this up. But it's all right, because we're only using 3 colours. It's not going to be hard to reinvent these colours, is it? Right, so that kind of, there you go, let's have a look. So this is a bit more, see, and then I can add a bit more of that colour. And because I've got that water, yeah, nice. And then a bit more around there maybe. Little, oh, I love it. Huh? But the thing is, it's about, let's have a look up close and you can see what I'm getting at. It's about getting that stained look, isn't it? Isn't that what we're after when we do watercolour? Yeah? So what's interesting is, when we take the 2 different looks, let's just move that to one side. We've got real control here, and then on this side, using exactly the same colours, so you know this is going to look so pretty. Now, right, think it through. Look, this is in large, but imagine when she's coloured in like her, and then we've got these lovely, beautiful, big background. But I've got another idea for this as well, don't forget. But this would be lovely in the background as well. So it'd be a really good learning curve. You know, if at the end of next week, we've learned how to do these gorgeous, stained, sort of bubbly, we could use the hearts, we'll try that out. get those lovely backgrounds going, right? It's easy, isn't it? And like I say, if you haven't got the watercolour brushes, see, I like them because it's like instant for me, it works. But you know what? If you've got one brush, this is what I think too. If you're going to get a brush, we sell them. They're expensive, they're about £10, but they're brilliant. And it's the number 6 Sable Hair Clarity Stamp brush. I just had it in my hand, I licked it. But it is like if I'm going to say one brush fits all, that brush fits all because it's pointed, really cool. So you don't need all, there you are, look. See, I know, and all the artists are going, what are you doing, what are you doing? Well, there you go, it works for me. Sacrilege. But you see how pointed it is? And in the end, what that does is it emulates all these. That's why they're so good, because they're pointed. See? And it's the same for this as well. So it's up to you. See, I like water brushes as well, because I don't have a sink here. I've got water, I've got it on tap in here, if I remember to fill them up. Right, come on. What time is it? 10:02. So if she's drying now. My hair's a little bit buckly because I kind of trying to prove a point there with the glaze. But in the name of art, it worked over here. So you see, so you could do, let's say, for example, now we could just do the last of the, you want to kind of get a really good balance, don't you? So this one here, yellow. Oh, let's get her out of the way a minute. Colour-wise, that's got to be blue then, hasn't it? Or what are we going to do? So we'll put a yellow one up here. Here we go. Just round we go. Bit more water. Bit of yellow. I like this colour. It's not yellow really, it's more like a straw, isn't it? Put a bit over there, a bit of depth. There you go. Once it starts to dry, it takes more layers. Nice. Now let me think. So see, I'm stuck now. I'm going to have to do another one. Imbalance here. Right. I think I'm going to put a what do I want here? A blue. Come on, Barbara. Blue. Sort of somewhere in between, isn't it? This one. That's it. Get that stain going, grey. That's what we want, a bit of stain. Wait till it dries, then add a little bit more. And then I think that one will make a nice green one. Bit of green in that one. There, just a little tiny one. That'll do. Blot it. See what happens if we blot it. Almost take it away altogether if you... There we are. Okay. Let it dry and then add a bit more of a stain maybe. See, it's funny, you can... I think that's where I overthink it. I overthink most things though, don't you? That's my big... My dad always used to say to me, the trouble is, Bob, you think too much. And I used to think, well, how can you not think? Well, how does that work? How can you not think? I don't get that. Of course I think a lot. I don't know, I understand about overthinking things. I get that. Of course I do as well. But I can't imagine not thinking. And yet that's really, when we're doing this artwork, it's redirecting our thinking, isn't it? It's taking our thinking to a place that feels good and feels kind. I think that's possibly what, if I had to qualify what my dad says, I think that's the key here. I can't stop thinking, but I can change my stinking thinking. Is it time to stop yet? I can change my stinking thinking. Oh dear, oh dear. Right. Anyway, when I overthink my art, I stop enjoying it. You know, yesterday when I was pulling these, and I was like, oh, I want to get higher than 6 inches. And I was trying to pull these bloody vases up, blimming, so I didn't mean to. And as I was going up, you know, and it started wobbling, and I thought, just stop the train, right? So I started again, had a little think, had a play with the cats, went back and didn't press so hard. And I just went with it, and I concentrated, and I stopped worrying about what the end result was going to be, and I just went with the process. And you know what? The best one, because I pulled the best vase, because I stopped trying to force it to the place where I wanted it to go. Didn't work. Does that make sense? So I suppose I stopped overthinking it in a way. Anyway. So I stopped my stinking thinking. Now, what I want to say though is, right, if you like this kind of art, right, what we're going to do over the next couple of weeks, we're going to take this, we're going to apply it to backgrounds, and then what we'll do is we'll also start working on this kind of real arty stuff with the Posca pens. Why, you know, when we flick it and splash it, this kind of art. And we're going to try it as well, just by comparison, we'll use a watercolour pad. So if you haven't got a watercolour pad, this is really good quality. It's really thick, very, very, lends itself very well to what we're doing here. And it comes with these little journal pads, these little things. These are good. Little diary, okay. I just try all my different sorts of art out in this. I think I did. Yeah, look, Serenity. Isn't that nice? There you go. Certainly do. Right, so that's where we're headed on this bus. On Wednesday, bring the same thing to the party, right? I want to show you, to finish on, this is really cool. And I don't know if let me see if you can, you know I showed you the little hearts? Look, see the little hearts? On the dress. Now, how did she draw those? Well, do you know what? It was total fluke. When I took the brush like this, right, and when it was quite thick. So let me see if I can do it again. I'll go in with let's see, because you can practice this. See if you get it. Right, I went in with the brush, and it was quite thick because I wanted to do little dots, but then they turned into hearts, and I thought, what a result! Right. So what I did was, and try on a bit of paper, see if you can get it. As you go down on the brush, see, it won't do it now. I was coming down on the brush, doing this. Look, I've got little triangles, but I haven't got little hearts. It must have been a stray hair. But I tell you what, you can do it. Look, dink donk, like that. All right, you ready? Right, where there's a will, there is a way. So you just, if you can't get them to do it, if it doesn't do it automatically for you, which is not now, typical, then all you're going to do is to make a little heart. See if you can do this. I tell you what, it's certainly, these look like little birds now. There we are. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right, that's your mission. Is to put little hearts on her dress. See if you can work it. Oh, I know. Look, down and up, and down and up, and down and up, and down and up. Oh yeah, perfect little hearts. There you go. Good enough. So, yeah, they actually work really well. Hold your pen. Right, this is it. I've got it now. Hold your pen up perpendicular, like straight. And then just make little V's until they turn into hearts. There you go. Bingo, schmingo. Perfect. Yeah, 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 yeah. So hold it like that, right? This is your practice now. We will stay sane. We will stay sane. We will stay sane. Right? You hold your pen like that, and then you just touch the paper, and then it's loaded up with quite a goodly amount of blue, and then just make a little V, and then puddle in the middle, and you'll see the heart will be revealed. Okay, so that's your homework. Put some little blue hearts on her dress. You might have to book a day's holiday tomorrow to do that. I hope you enjoyed that, Paul. Thanks for your help. And yeah, so the next couple of weeks, watercolour, mixed media, arty, watercolour brushes, pergolina, aqua pencils, just moving forward. Right, let that dry, don't fiddle with it, and we'll carry on here on Wednesday at 10 o'clock. Lots of love. Have a good day. Enjoy the sunshine. Go for a walk if you can. Get some fresh air. Lots of love. Bye-bye now. Oh, and don't forget tomorrow, Paul, Groovy Tuesday. He's great, isn't he? Yeah, Paul. 10 o'clock tomorrow morning.